You know, a lot of people think that they don't want to go on the road because they're going to be separated from their families.
I miss my family.
And that was something we thought about when we first started out, too. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
between us, we have 8 children and 9 grandchildren. And Cindy just kind of came to that realization a couple minutes ago.
I knew we had 8 children. I didn't realize we already had 9 grandchildren.
I have 5 grandchildren.
I have 4.
And Cindy has 4.
I guess I just hadn't never put it all together.
Yeah. Never did the math.
Friday, do the math.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a reason to not go on the road.
Yeah, the world is smaller and smaller all the time with the internet and flights and of course driving if you want to go that way. So when we originally started in North Carolina, and we lived near my mother. We lived near one of my daughters. We lived near his daughter. And we really didn't see them that much. To be honest, everybody's got their own lives they're living in. And I have 3 children in Tennessee and 1 in California. He has 2 boys in Philadelphia.
Well, in Pennsylvania.
Well, Pennsylvania.
One in Philly, 1 in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
And of course, they have their own lives. So we'd love for them to all come visit us. In case you're watching. Yeah.
Yes, if any of them watch these videos, I have no idea if they do or not. Goes both ways.
Both roads are open.
Road.
But it's hard sometimes. We saw all of my kids when my son got married back in November in Las Vegas.
Right.
Made a trip out of that. And you've been one time to Pennsylvania to see
I've been
your
twice.
family.
Twice to Pennsylvania to visit my sons and my sister, who also lives in Pennsylvania.
We've been back to North Carolina once.
We went back to North Carolina once. I will be going to Pennsylvania in July, early July, and I will be seeing all of my children. My daughter is making the ride up from North Carolina to Pennsylvania to see everybody.
So, long story short, we see everybody when we can. Usually it's for an event of some sort. His have mostly been to go see new grandbabies. So,
yes, because I may have only 3 children to her 5, but they're outpacing you in
for child,
in grandchildren.
Yeah. So we do what we can to get, to see as many of them as we can, as often as we can. I recently went to San Francisco, where I'd never been before, to see my son and his husband. It was planned by his husband. He sent out a mass message several months ago to say he wanted us to surprise Charlie, my son's Charlie, to surprise him for his birthday and end of semester. He's in college, getting his bachelor's degree in social work. And so he started planning this several months ago. And it turned out, everybody was invited, but it turned out that just myself and one of my daughters, Kayla, was able to go. So we both planned on going. We never told Charlie anything. It was hard. So we planned that out. I flew from here. She flew from Nashville and ended up meeting them at the hotel where they were staying for the night.
What kills me about that is, and they didn't put this together beforehand, she and her daughter Kayla's flights landed. Remember, Kayla was coming from Tennessee. Landed within 10 minutes of each other.
Yeah. So it worked out great. We were able to take a shuttle over to their hotel and walked in and surprised him. Just as a side note, he finished the semester with 4.0.
Yes.
And which I'm very proud of. And
yay, Charlie.
So we surprised him with that and kept it a surprise, which was amazing to me. but we did end up visiting there, and we have a few photos, videos to show you of that. We didn't spend a lot of time in San Francisco. They live in Petaluma, which is a little north of San Francisco. All of it's just beautiful, beautiful territory. Of course, California. What can you say?
And they did get to see the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yes. That was our first stop. When we got there, we were hungry because it was long time since we had had breakfast and left home. So we went to a diner that's right at the one end of the Golden Gate Bridge. There's a visitor center, which is actually, I'm not sure if you know this, part of the national park system. There, that area is the welcome system. The welcome center was built by the National Park Service for historical value. And
I didn't know that.
it has several displays and murals showing how they built the bridge. There's a 12-foot piece of a test tower that they used while building the bridge. Interestingly, the toll when it first opened was 25 cents, 1/4, to go across the bridge. Now
it's not that anymore.
No, it's depending on what you do. If you get a fast pass, if you live there, you can have different ways of paying for it that can be a little cheaper if you go over more frequently. But it's around $9, and they only charge one way, so that's not too terribly bad. But considering inflation,
yeah. Well, I mean, if you compare it to like the George Washington Bridge in New York, it's $16 each way.
Oh wow!
So
no, so we first off stopped at this cafe. It's a coffee shop and a diner together. It's called the Roundhouse Cafe and the Equator Coffee. Delicious avocado toast I had. And they have pastries. They have all different kinds of coffees, other beverages. And interesting in California, that's different from a lot of other places. They are very focused on recycling, the environment, reuse items that can be recycled as far as your paper plates and bowls and wrapping paper and things like that.
Phil recycles this, Phil recycles that.
Everywhere you go, there's trash, recycling, and I think compost in some places. So they're very focused on that. A lot of times at the airport, I noticed the water came in a metal bottle because that's infinitely recyclable according to the side of the bottle. So they're very focused, have a lot of laws that have to do with recycling and sustainability. But from the cafe, the diner where we were, we could see Alcatraz out in the bay, which was interesting. I did not even know it was there. Didn't know my Alcatraz history, but it was very visible there. It looks small from there, but I'm sure up close it's a lot bigger. You can take ferry rides by there, but I don't think you can go there.
I don't know. I think there is actually a museum out there.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never been.
But the Golden Gate Bridge is pretty impressive. I mean, you've seen pictures of it, and just being there, it's a lot higher, a lot taller than I thought it would be driving through it. But it's very foggy. Several of the times that we were in that area, it was foggy. In the middle of the day, it was still foggy. It just, of course, depends on the weather, but they said that it stays that way a lot of the time. From there, we went up to their home in Petaluma, spent the rest of the day there.
How far is San Francisco from Petaluma?
That's about a 40-minute ride, I think.
Okay.
And beautiful country all the way through there, very hilly and green, and having come from the desert, it was refreshing to see some green. And we went to their apartment, spent some time with them.
Which we went and saw a whole lot of green in Sedona, Arizona, and upcoming there's going to be an actual 5-part series on our visit to Sedona and the Grand Canyon.
It was an awesome vacation. The following morning, that evening, Kayla and I got settled in our little hotel where we were staying, and spent time playing card games, drinking wine. Then the following morning, we went to brunch at Cafe Mimosa, which was very nice, and got mimosa flights, which were very delicious. We all got different
So you day drank.
morning drink. Morning drink. We got 2 different flights of mimosas and different flavors in there. We all took turns tasting them, and but very interesting menu. Lots of unusual things for brunch to me, but there were some vegan options, and there were, of course, plenty of non-vegan options. Omelets, bowls, sandwiches, just about anything you can imagine. But service was great, and we really had a good time with that. Also, Petaluma is a cute little town. It's not really little, but the area where Charlie and Will live has a nice street area that is walkable pretty much anywhere you want to go. You can go to movie, you can go to shopping, different shops, you can go to tons of restaurants within walking distance. So it is a nice little town, I would say, to live in because you have a lot of variety there. We went to a Thai restaurant one evening from their apartment, and on our way to walking to that, we saw some old cars, refurbished old cars coming around the corner. Came to find out we were in the middle of a car show. They were having their parade. They had been there all weekend, I think. And,
Did they have the whole street closed down?
The streets were closed down.
Oh, okay.
And so we just happened, as we came around the corner going to the restaurant, to see the parade of old cars. Very interesting, very nice. I'm sure people have put a lot of money into those, restoring those cars. And lots of very kind of interesting characters around there that were watching and participating. So it was very interesting to see that, and took a lot of pictures, and then walked to the Thai restaurant, ate there. It was nice. We were the first people there for dinner. I didn't think we were that early, but
Everybody was still out at the car show.
I guess so. So we had dinner there. Of course, went back to their apartment for some more visiting and fun. And
You went to a
enjoyed
vineyard
that.
too, didn't you?
Yeah, one day we went to the Francis Ford Coppola winery. There are a lot of wineries, as you can imagine, in California. But this one is from the movie director, Francis Ford Coppola, started his own winery. And it's a beautiful, beautiful place. When you first drive through, there's just a tree-lined lane that you go through, and you can see the vineyards from there. Very nicely done pool area. Charlie and Will are members there, so they're like, I think it's a wine club. They're a member of from there.
So like a wine of the month type thing or whatever.
Yeah. So they get discounts on wine and visits and stuff. And so they have a pool area that is very large, and they have cabanas on the side and where you can change clothes and showers. And then they have, with the cabanas, they have 4 assigned seats per cabana. So you can have guests. And so we were their guests and spent some time one day out
So
at the pool.
this pool area is only for the members.
That's my assumption. I think
Yeah.
non-members can go use that area. It's just more expensive.
Gotcha.
So, we had a cabana and 4 seats, and we were right by the pool, so it was very nice. And the umbrellas kept most of the sun off of you, but you could get some sun if you wanted to. Very big pool. Lots of kids, little kids. Seemed to be the most of the clientele there that day were like young couples with small kids, like toddlers and 4 or 5-year-olds. So it wasn't too bad, but lots of kids. And we enjoyed some appetizers and drinks and just sat around and visited more and enjoyed ourselves at the pool. There was concern over me getting too much sun, so everybody was kind of trying to take care of Mom.
Well, also, she's leaving it out, but Cindy was sick when she went.
Yeah, I had started with a scratchy throat the day before we left, and then it just gradually got worse with a sinus and cough, and it was a long ordeal. But
My personal thing is that she went into that humid climate. She needed to come back here to the desert.
oh yeah, I guess. But I didn't let it spoil my. I just got some cough drops and some Dayquil and kept going. But the Francis Ford Coppola's winery also has a restaurant and a museum with lots of artifacts from the movies that he's directed. His actual Oscars are there in a case, and a lot of things from Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now, The Godfather.
The Godfather. A lot of actual artifacts, items from those movies. So you could get to see some costumes. They had a piece of one of the prison of war huts that were on Apocalypse Now. So that was very, very interesting. We also did a wine tasting while we were there. We had a special members list to choose from, so we got to see different wines. Some of them were okay. Some of them were really good. But by the time we left the pool and we had drinks there, and then we get to the wine tasting and we were drinking wine again, it was like, okay, that's enough of that for
I'm drunk.
one day.
So you were all drunk.
Not exactly drunk, but not exactly
Sober.
with it. But we got a chance to go around to the museum. It has an upstairs area that has a lot of artifacts, of course, memorabilia, things that, and souvenirs that you can buy, from shot glasses to coffee mugs to T-shirts and sweatshirts and just all kinds of things.
All the standard gift shop stuff.
Yeah. And it was very interesting. I never really knew that much about Coppola, but
Well,
just the name.
Cindy has never seen The Godfather.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
So we finished there, went home and kind of went back and kind of crashed after that, and regrouped a little bit, got cleaned up and dressed, and went back to the winery, which wasn't that far from their apartment, and had dinner that night. It's a little difficult finding something without meat in it for me, but I managed.
Yeah, we are vegan, both of us. So
but it was very good, very delicious meal, and beautiful views, because when you're in the restaurant, you're kind of overlooking the vineyard and
nice.
Some of the areas that are out there, landscaped areas as well as the vineyard. So took couple of family pictures out there. Oh, one day we did eat lunch. I think one of the days we were in Petaluma, we had lunch at a Mexican restaurant. That was very good. I think that was the last day before we left. And we were able to get some pretty yummy stuff. I had a taco salad, and then Kayla had a bowl. I can't remember the name of it. But it had several different kinds of meat and fish and vegetables, and I cannot think of the name of it. We'll put it on the screen when we edit this.
Right.
What the name of it was.
Yeah, we'll ask Kayla if she remembers, and I'll put it on screen.
But it looked delicious. I think probably a family of 4 could have eaten it, but she didn't end up eating the whole thing. But we had a good time there. It was very nice. Good service. We actually had several different waiters. It was weird because we started out with one lady, and then another guy came and did something. Another lady came and did something. So I guess it's just kind of a
So
group.
they give you a crew.
You met the whole crew yet?
I guess it's kind of a group waiting tables kind of thing. After we ate at the Mexican restaurant, we did some walking through Petaluma down in the shops area. Got to see some very interesting places. Kayla was very interested in the vintage clothing stores. We almost lost her, I think, at one point. She was in those stores looking at everything. but she enjoyed that. We went also. There was a plant store there that I really enjoyed. They had lots of stuff, beautiful plants and holders and containers. Also, they have the electrical boxes on some of the corners that have they all have murals painted on them. Some of them also have graffiti on them, but they have beautiful, like a bird cage with birds on it, or different types of paintings on them that make it nice to look at instead of just a gray box sitting there.
Yeah.
So we enjoyed that walk through Petaluma, able to see some things. They have a what they call a pride crosswalk that is the rainbow colors that goes across. Charlie said he's hoping they're going to
Repaint it
soon because
it's fading pretty badly.
it's definitely been in use. So we were hoping they would get it done by Pride Month. I haven't thought to ask him if they got it done. But of course, there's a lot of events there in San Francisco and around in Petaluma for Pride Month, and it's very progressive, open kind of place to live. But I really enjoyed the whole trip. It seemed very short once it was over because we were busy, but it was really great to get to see my kids and some of my kids anyway, and be able to see somewhere different that I haven't ever been, and just enjoy a little time away, especially away from work. But speaking of work, as you know, I'm a travel nurse, and we're going to be starting some new features on the channel of weekly.
We're going to call it Travel Nurse Tuesday. And Cindy's going to be doing videos relating to travel nursing. The first one we're going to bring up is hopefully coming this week, or actually by the time you see this, you may have already seen it, where she's going to talk about the travel nursing industry as a whole and the ebbs and flows of the industry.
But we've been traveling for 3.5 years, and a lot of things have changed. The pandemic changed a lot of things in travel nursing, and now that the pandemic is, quote, over, meaning that a lot of the government subsidies that hospitals were getting have come to an end. So hospitals are looking at their staffing situations differently.
And if you're interested in more about our travel and adventures, check out this video where we went and saw the Sandy and Pete tramway.
Thanks for watching. We'll be seeing you soon on Travel Nursing Tuesday, Travel Nurse Tuesday, and our regular videos.
I'm Felix.
I'm Cindy.
We are the Roaming Gomes. Until next time, I hope we can help to bring you less worry
And more wonder.